Julian, I'd like you to respond to Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, could be running for president. Her comments on Edward Snowden. She was interviewed by The Guardian, which first released the revelations based on the documents of Edward Snowden. And if you could just hit the first comment.
Well, I would say, first of all, that Edward Snowden broke our laws, and that cannot be ignored or brushed aside.
Julian Assange, that first point of Hillary Clinton's.
Well, it's always interesting when someone proclaims to be a master of what is within the law and what is not within the law. We've seen a lot with Pentagon generals and other State Department figures, including Hillary. We've seen it in this case with General Alexander talking about what is the law and what is not the law.
The former head of the NSA.
Yes, but actually in the end, in the United States, it's a Supreme Court that determines what the law is and what the law isn't. And part of this part of what goes into the Supreme Court is the US Constitution and its First Amendment obligations. So whether the Espionage Act is constitutional is a very interesting question and has not been properly tested before. In fact, the US government has been quite careful to not go to a proper appeal in relation to a conviction under the Espionage Act in order to keep the threat there and not find that it is unconstitutionally brought. So I think there is actually a question even as to whether Edward Snowden, through his activities, broke the law, but then you can even go, okay, well, if he did, was it in fact the correct thing to do? Maybe the law's out of date, maybe the law's wrong.
Let's go to Hillary Clinton's next point.
Secondly, I believe that if his primary concern was stirring a debate in our country over the tension between privacy and security, there were other ways of doing it. Instead of stealing an enormous amount of information that had nothing to do with the U.S. or American citizens. As
a journalist, I have been working at various times on documenting what the National Security Agency has been doing in its burgeoning mass surveillance practice for more than 20 years. And other journalists, some of them very fine, have also been trying to expose the National Security Agency. And other whistleblowers have come forward. So Thomas Drake, William Binney, both from the National Security Agency, for example. But what was the problem? While we could point to, based on a sophisticated analysis of what the National Security Agency is doing, so look at this piece here, look at this little bit of congressional testimony, look at this, look at the subpoena record, look at the technology that they are buying from this company, look at the number of employees, look at the DoD budget as a whole, and you add everything else up, you can work out the National Security Agency budget. That's a very complex picture, and that's not a picture that can generate political reform and debate. And what Edward Snowden did was, by bringing out classified documents that were official documents, that were, even some of them just last year, he was able to show even to people that didn't understand the complexity of what was actually going on. So we have proof. People did try to start a debate using all sorts of methods, including former National Security Agency whistleblowers, and it's only primary source documents in volume that are probably capable of starting a debate about a complex issue like mass surveillance.